Then one zone around 3 hours breastfeeding her when she was eyes. She was looking at me intensely and I realized the eyes were blue.
You ever see an African with bright, icy blue eyes and your brain just freezes like your Wi-Fi during a storm? Like, wait, did genetics glitch? Did melanin take a lunch break? Did God hit randomize instead of copy-paste? Yeah, that exact moment of confusion is why we're here today. Because scientists have finally unpacked the truth behind one of the most misunderstood human features on the planet: blue eyes on dark skin. And trust me, the actual story is way wilder than the myths. For decades, people acted like blue eyes came with a European-only membership card. If someone had blue eyes and dark skin, the explanations were always hilarious. It's Photoshop. It's contacts. It's sorcery. It's an iPhone filter gone rogue. Some even whispered superstitions about curses or evil spirits, as if eye color came with downloadable personality traits. Meanwhile, science is standing in the corner like, "You're finished," because none of this is true. Here's the real tea. Human eye color is not some racial category. It's physics, mixed with melanin, mixed with a sprinkle of genetic chaos. The more melanin in your iris, the darker the eye. The less melanin, the more light scatters, and boom, your eyes appear blue. Fun plot twist: blue eyes don't even contain blue pigment. They're literally just brown eyes that forgot how to turn the lights on. But if brown is the default eye color worldwide, and Africa has the highest melanin concentrations, how on earth do blue eyes appear naturally among Africans? Hold that thought, because this mystery goes deeper than anyone expects. Scientists from Copenhagen University dropped a discovery that still has the internet fighting in the comments. Every blue-eyed person alive today, yes, all of them, can trace that trait back to a single ancestor. One human, one mutation, one oops moment in the genetic timeline that happened around 8,000 to 10,000 years ago, somewhere near the Black Sea. Before that mutation, humans were like a global brown-eyed family reunion. There were no blue eyes, not a single pair. So blue eyes didn't appear because humans added a new pigment. They appeared because this mutation dialed down the melanin production switch, like lowering the brightness on your phone. Instead of creating blue, it simply removed brown, the wildest part. Genetic evidence shows ancient European humans actually had dark skin and blue eyes. Let that sink in. For years, people associated blue eyes with pale skin. But the first blue-eyed humans were literally rocking melanin-rich skin tones. The stereotype wasn't just off, it was completely upside down. So now, you might be thinking, okay, if the blue eye mutation started thousands of miles away, how did it show up in modern Africans who have no recent European ancestry? Great question, and this is where the plot thickens like a Nollywood storyline. Because this phenomenon isn't just about ancient migrations or distant relatives. There are multiple scientific pathways that can produce blue eyes in Africans today. And the next discovery completely flips the script on what people think they know about genetics, ancestry, and what's considered normal in Africa. Now here's where things get even juicier. Most people assume blue eyes in Africans can only mean one thing. Somebody's great-great-great-great-grandfather took a Mediterranean vacation and came back with souvenirs. But that's not always the case. Blue eyes can show up in Africans with zero European ancestry, and scientists have receipts, lab coats, and peer-reviewed citations to prove it. One of the wildest reasons? Genetics sometimes behaves like a DJ who refuses to play the playlist in order. A gene can skip one generation, and then two, and then decide to pop out in a child 4 generations later just to keep family gatherings interesting. There are African families where both parents have deep brown eyes, no hint of blue anywhere, and yet their child is born with bright sky blue eyes. Not contacts, not filters, pure biology trolling everyone involved. Here's how it works. Some African bloodlines quietly carry the blue eye mutation without expressing it. Think of it like a secret family recipe. Nobody uses until one day someone finally opens the cookbook and says, "Oh, so that's where the blue eyes come from." For the mutation to show visually, both parents simply need to carry the same recessive variation. They may not have blue eyes themselves, but they're both holding a genetic lottery ticket. When their child inherits both, boom, jackpot. But genetics isn't the only plot twist in this saga. Some blue-eyed Africans have a condition known as Waardenburg syndrome. Sounds dramatic, I know, but it's basically a rare genetic disorder that affects pigmentation, and sometimes hearing. People with it often have very pale blue eyes, sometimes one blue and one brown, and distinctive patterns of melanin distribution in their skin, hair, or eyebrows. People with it often have very pale blue eyes, sometimes one blue and one brown, and distinctive patterns of melanin distribution in their skin, hair, or eyebrows. It happens in about 1 out of every 40,000 births, so it's rare but absolutely natural. No European involvement, no forbidden magic. Just biology doing side quests. And if you think that's fascinating, wait for this one. Africa is home to some of the most genetically diverse populations on Earth. Scientists literally call Africa the origin point of human variation. If humans were a video game, Africa is the server where all the character customization options exist. So unusual eye colors, blue, gray, hazel, even green, aren't foreign to Africa at all. They're just uncommon enough that people act surprised when they see them. Take the tribes in South Sudan and Namibia, for example. Some children are born with piercing blue or steel gray eyes that look like they were designed in Photoshop, but they're natural. Their genes simply produce lower melanin in the iris, while their skin retains normal melanin production. It's the ultimate contrast. Dark complexion, pale eyes, and it's stunning. Yet here's the funniest part. Many Africans grow up thinking blue-eyed Africans are mixed, possessed, European descendants, or wearing contacts. Meanwhile, there are entire villages in Africa where elders can pull out childhood photos from the 1940s showing blue-eyed kids long before colored contact lenses were even invented. And just when you think this can't get any crazier, scientists dropped another bombshell. Partner selection may have played a role in who inherited blue eyes. In ancient Europe, men statistically preferred women with blue eyes. Not just liked, but selected for it. So that choice amplified the trait over generations. That's why blue eyes are everywhere in Scandinavia, but rare in Africa. Africa didn't have the same selective pressure. Translation: some ancient guys really liked blue eyes, and now millions of people have them. But this still doesn't answer the big question. How do scientists explain the rising numbers of blue-eyed Africans found in modern Nigeria, Uganda, and South Africa? That mystery leads to a discovery so unexpected, it's still sparking debates today. So let's talk about what scientists discovered when they actually started studying blue-eyed Africans on the continent. Not the internet rumors, not the comments, not the assumptions, real field research. Because once researchers went into communities in Nigeria, Uganda, Tanzania, South Africa, and Sudan, they noticed something fascinating. Blue eyes weren't popping up randomly. There were patterns. In some Nigerian families, for example, multiple siblings had blue or gray eyes, while both parents had brown eyes. In Uganda, researchers documented entire clusters of families with unusual eye colors, all unrelated to Europeans. Some South African families even had documented blue-eyed ancestors going back 6 or 7 generations. Scientists analyzed DNA samples, ancestry markers, mutation frequencies, and guess what? These people had overwhelmingly African genetic signatures, like 99% sub-Saharan African, no sign of recent European mixing. That alone blew up half the internet conspiracy theories. One scientist even said, "It's irresponsible to assume Africans can't have blue eyes. Africa contains more genetic variation than any other place on Earth." Translation: if human genes can do it, Africa already had the code. But here's where the plot gets insane. Some blue-eyed Africans have a condition called bilateral isoepichromia. Sounds like a villain in a sci-fi movie, but it's actually just a rare pigmentation pattern where both irises end up pale blue because of how light reflects off the fundus, the back of the eye. It's rare globally, but it happens more in certain African regions than scientists previously realized. And then there's heterochromia. The two different colored eyes effect. Africa's got plenty of that too. Some people have one brown eye and one bright blue eye. And when you ask their families, they'll tell you, "Oh yeah, Auntie had that. Grandpa had that." It runs in the family. Not a European trait. Not a magical spell. Just genetics enjoying itself. But the biggest shocker came when researchers found that some blue-eyed Africans carry a slightly different mutation than the original OCA2 mutation. Let me say that again, slowly, because this is the part that made scientists do the scientific equivalent of a double take. Some Africans have unique, independently occurring blue eye mutations that did not come from Europeans at all. That means blue eyes evolved more than once in human history. It wasn't a one-time genetic accident. It happened in multiple places. Think about how wild that is. Nature looked at eye color and said, "You know what? Let's run that experiment again." This completely rewrites the narrative. It means blue eyes didn't belong to any one region, race, or group. They're a product of how melanin levels shift based on multiple genes working together. And Africa simply has more genetic diversity to produce rare combinations that the rest of the world isn't used to seeing. Now add in human migration, ancient mixing, isolated populations, and rare mutations popping up unexpectedly, and suddenly blue-eyed Africans don't seem strange at all. They're exactly what scientists expect from the continent with the most diverse gene pool on Earth. But despite all this, the stereotypes still linger. The superstition, the judgment, the disbelief. Some African children with blue eyes have faced bullying, isolation, or accusations of being cursed. Meanwhile, celebrities like Rihanna, Tyra Banks, Vanessa Williams, and Michael Ealy helped normalize lighter eye colors. But even they've dealt with people questioning whether their eyes are real. And that's why today's scientific findings matter. They're not just about eye color, they're about breaking the false narratives that limit how people see African features, African genetics, and African beauty. But we're not done yet, because there's an even deeper layer to all of this, a discovery connecting blue eyes in Africans to something ancient, something unexpected, something scientists didn't see coming. And when they found it, let's just say, jaws dropped. And now we reach the part scientists didn't expect to find. The part that turns this whole blue eye discussion from interesting biology lesson into, wait, this changes human history. Because the deeper researchers dug, the more they realized something almost poetic. Blue eyes in Africans today may be echoes of traits that existed long before the world divided humans into categories, traits that reach back to early humans, migrations, and genetic branches that science is still trying to map. When scientists sequenced DNA from ancient remains across Africa, Europe, and the Near East, they found something surprising. Some early humans, thousands of years ago, had combinations of traits that don't match any modern stereotypes: people with dark skin and blue eyes, people with light eyes and deep melanin, people who looked like contradictions to our modern assumptions, but were completely normal for their time. In other words, the human species used to be way more visually diverse than people think. Over thousands of years, different populations lost, gained, or amplified certain traits depending on environment, climate, migration, and mate selection. But here's the kicker. Africa, being the original genetic powerhouse, still carries the raw materials for these variations, even the ones that disappeared elsewhere. That means blue eyes in Africa aren't just anomalies. They're living fossils, genetic time capsules, reminders of ancient humans who existed long before history got rewritten, long before borders existed, long before anyone argued about who should look like what. And this is why scientists insist on one core truth. Africa doesn't just hold the origin of humanity. It holds the origin of human diversity. Every eye color, every hair texture, every skin shade, every facial structure, every trait humans argue about online like they're discussing sports teams. Africa already had the template, but as empowering as that is, it also highlights why blue-eyed Africans face so much unnecessary scrutiny. The world is still catching up to what science already knows. Appearance doesn't equal ancestry, stereotypes don't equal biology, and human genetics refuses to fit inside anyone's neat little boxes. And the misconceptions don't stop at genetics. Some people still think blue eyes on dark skin mean poor eyesight. Not true. Others think it means hearing issues, only true in rare conditions like Waardenburg syndrome. Some think it means mixed ancestry, sometimes true, often not. The real story is much bigger, much older, and far more fascinating than any of those simplified ideas. Because at the end of all this research, all the DNA mapping, all the ancestral tracing, scientists arrived at a surprisingly human conclusion. Blue-eyed Africans are simply another expression of the endless variability coded into human DNA. Nothing strange, nothing foreign, nothing unnatural, just another beautiful reminder that the human story is far more complex and far more interconnected than anyone ever believed. And honestly, that's the real, shocking finding here. Not that blue eyes exist in Africa, but that people are still shocked by it. So the next time someone sees a dark-skinned person with blue eyes and their brain starts buffering, you can politely remind them, relax, genetics has range. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most misunderstood traits in human biology, you already know what to do. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Because trust me, the science gets even crazier from here, and you do not want to be the one hearing about it secondhand.